to another night of the Sim Racing Points Truck Series on Wednesdays. This time we're coming at you live from the simulated Nashville SuperSpeedway. This 1.33 mile 4-turn cookie cutter. A little bit slower than your average cookie cutter. It's not exactly the 1.5 miles. These corners trickier, a little bit tighter. Kind of have to judge the corner right. And the entrance is a lot tighter than the exit. So driver's going to have a hands full tonight learning this track. It's kind of newer to the NASCAR circuit and sort of newer to the iRacing circuit as well. So how much practice these guys got, they always surprise me. But as always, on the left-hand side of your screen is myself, Mr. Jay Stan, and to my right, Pashiba Neck. How are you doing this Wednesday, sir?
I'm doing good, Jeremy. It's nice to be up here. We're still staying in the great state of Tennessee, just 2.5 hours west there of Knoxville last week, doing the dirt track here in Nashville tonight. Music City, man. I'm excited for it. It should be a fun race tonight.
Yeah, me and you both love Tennessee, so anytime we can get, a chance to come up here from Florida anyways, where it's over 100 degrees, real feel every day at this point, disgusting. And we're not even, I think today or tomorrow is technically the start of summer, so we're getting it early and we're getting it hard. So, but tonight though, here in Nashville, we got 77 degrees in the air, 80 degrees on track, which I would love this weather to be on down here in Florida. I'm sure you would love that as well. And 125 laps tonight for the Nashville 125. We are coming live to you a little earlier than normal for this pre-race show presented by Martin Sports. Last week, if you did attend the broadcast on Wednesday, you would have noticed about 15 or so laps ago, broadcast was cut short due to some type of error on the producer's end that caused the infamous blue screen of death. So it was cut short real quick, could not get the action back up for you in time to complete the broadcast. So why are we coming at you early? We had 3 drivers that finished first, second, and third, and they all happened to be on the same team from Fury Motorsports, and they didn't get their interviews. So you're like, you know what? They deserve an interview. That's their first time finishing 1, 2, 3, and they're really looking forward to it. So we're bringing live action to you just 10 minutes prior to our normal start time to give those guys some thanks and some shout-outs.
Yeah, we got to talk to the guys, see how they did last week. I mean, they did great as a team overall. Finishing 1, 2, 3, and Tony Soler dominated the field. He led, a race high of 81 laps. I think lapped everyone but his one teammate Richie Coy there. So that Fury Motorsports definitely put on a dominant performance there, and I want to hear it from them.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure they are expecting. So first is going to be Brody Hanna, who did finish third place. His whole team did great, and he was the first truck 1 lap down. Richie and Tony both only people are on the lead lap. So we're going to try to bring in Mr. Brody Hanna and see what he has to say about his race last Wednesday. Brody Hanna, it's a little early to talk to you, man, but we have to compensate for last week's interview. How's it going out there so far tonight in Nashville?
We'll see. Still looking for a little speed, but we'll see.
Okay. You're still digging a little bit. I got you. The trucks looks pretty good on my end, but we're here to talk about Knoxville. Huge shout out to you guys. Fury Motorsports, first time all season, I think all year really. Your team was able to finish 1, 2, and 3. And I know you guys are really excited about that. That's why we wanted to do these interviews. So I know it's been a week and you got cooled down and you're focused on Nashville, but just give us your thoughts about Knoxville overall.
Well, actually, even stems back to Sonoma. I feel like I let the guys down at Sonoma. They finished 1, 2, and I think I finished 5th because I knocked the wall down coming into the pits. But yeah, I mean, I felt like that we had a chance for that there because we were really hooked up there too. And to come back the next week at a dirt track and get it 1, 2, 3 was just awesome for the team. I was just excited to be in the conversation there at Knoxville, to be honest with you. I didn't have much practice, and dirt's really usually not my thing, but Tony hooked us up with a great setup, worked all week on the setup, and got us tuned in, and all 3 of us were able to hook up and go.
Yeah, we were thinking maybe Tony was kind of sending out some of his setups last week because all 3 of y'all just had that dominating truck, and especially Tony, 2 weeks in a row with the road and then over to the dirt, just kind of getting a perfect what he loves there and just put on performance. Do you did you expect to kind of get up there in third? We know you started 8th and you were running top 5 most of the night, and then got into that 3rd place there towards the later part of the run. Were you thinking that was a good chance to get the 1, 2, 3 like y'all did?
I knew the truck had speed, and I knew passes were going to be kind of difficult. The race itself I thought would be kind of difficult, which I gotta say, big kudos to everybody in the race. I told them after the race that was awesome. We went 95 laps on a dirt track in the trucks, caution free. We had 1 caution for the whole race. That was awesome in itself. But I was kind of surprised, honestly, to see Kenneth Schultz drop back from 3rd, because he was one of the guys in contention there, and he's usually really good on these dirt tracks. And so to see him fall back was kind of surprising. But man, the truck on the long run just hooked up and just took off. And again, big kudos to Tony for working on a setup for dirt. He's kind of our dirt and road expert. He's kind of, the last couple of weeks, really kind of helped out. So I got to give him a shout out for sure.
Yeah, put in some awesome work, and it sounds like that's his expertise for sure, helping out Fury Motorsports with that dominant race. But we're gonna bring you back down. I got 2 other drivers on your team to talk to before this thing kicks over to qualifying. So I just want to say good luck out there, and maybe we'll be talking to you after 125 green flag laps.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna work on it. See if we can get back up there.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
That was Brody Hanna, 3rd place in that number 23 Ford F-150. Now it's time to bring in Mr. 2nd place, Richie Coy, who at this point had a really comfortable seat here in the broadcast booth. See if we can get a word with him. Mr. Richie Coy, copy.
What's up, nerds?
What's up?
Hey, I know you're in Nashville right now, so I know that's your focus. But I just got to take you back 1 week. We didn't get to interview you due to technical difficulties, and so with the team celebrating a 1-2-3 finish for the first time in 2022, you guys are pretty stoked about that. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that actually might be our first one ever. So yeah, it was really good. I can't believe that race went 95 laps without a caution. I was kind of hoping to get one to maybe get, kind of spook Tony a little bit there, maybe have a chance for the win. But Tony spanked us 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, Tony he's been putting on a performance, and Brody was mentioning he's kind of had the setups the last 2 weeks, and you still had 19 laps, matching your truck number there. But yeah, Tony was just the class of the field. But we kind of hoping for a yellow too to kind of bunch y'all up and see the shootout. But Jeremy mentioned right before you jumped on, you got yourself a seat up here in the booth. It seems like every week we're interviewing you with these top 3 finishes. So, how did that race go last week? Do you think you had a chance for Tony if you did have that restart, or do you think Tony was just kind of class of the field last week?
Tony was definitely the class of the field, but if we bunched it up, anything could happen when you get a race for it. But without a question, Tony, I mean, he was gone. He was checked out. I mean, he did a fantastic job. I can't be prouder of him for the last 2 weeks. And we got second 2 weeks in a row, and that's good for my points lead. And I get to come up and talk to you guys all the time, so I'm happy with that too.
Yeah, man. Well, I was always happy to talk to you whenever we get a chance, and your truck's looking pretty good out there, running the top of the boards for the most part in practice. So keep that work up, and we just might be able to, chat with you here at tonight's end of the race. So just want to say good luck out there, and we're gonna try to bring in your teammate and see how you thought about his victory.
All right, guys. Hopefully we'll have a good race. Hopefully you guys have a good broadcast, and maybe we'll talk later.
All right, man. Good luck out there. And that was 2nd place finisher last week in Knoxville, Mr. Richie Coy. And then the man that builds all these setups for Fury Motorsports when it comes to road courses and dirt. It looks like it's going to be the only one left to talk to, Mr. Tony Solari. We're going to try to bring him into the booth. Mr. Solari, you got a copy?
Yes, I do. What's happening there, nerds?
Hey, man. Just kind of watching practice right now and talking to your teammates and getting their thoughts on last week at Knoxville. And they've given you the most highest appraisal possible for working excellent quality work on the dirt stuff and on the road courses, building them setups that basically no one can compete with. And you won both of those races. It's fair that the guy who built the setup wins the races. So you do currently, being 4 races in now, have the most wins of the season so far. And I know we got focused on Nashville, but I'll take you back 1 week. Tell us how that race went for you, other than the obvious of leading 81 laps to winning the thing. How was that race overall for you?
Well, yeah, I guess it was no surprise to the guys on my team that the last week was my week to get it done, so to say, and a three-peat is probably not in the question this week, but yeah. I love the dirt a lot, and the trucks are a lot of fun, and a lot of the practice and setup. I was doing hosted sessions where the track was pretty worn, so it was a slick track that I was setting it up for. And there's a certain way I like the truck to be, and every setup I was trying to, the thing would over rotate, and one of my goals was to pull a lot of that over rotation out of it, so that way you could get a better drive off corner. And I figured, that's what's going to win the race towards the end of the night. And yeah, paid off. It was, like I say, I love the dirt. It was fun, and to see Richie and Brody 1, 2, 3, our very first 1, 2, 3 as a team, and we were just mentioning it too last week with Sonoma and whatnot, and I said, well, it's either going to come in a road course or a dirt track, just because my oval game isn't where it needs to be. But yeah, to pull it off the next week was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a heck of a run these last 2 weeks, and especially last week, leading 81 of the 100 laps there. That was just such a dominating performance, especially in this league. It's such a hard league to get a top 5, let alone a win in 2 in a row, and you pulled it off 2 weeks there with the class of 16 drivers. Have you ever had a win like that where you pretty much almost lapped the whole field? You had just your one teammate left to Tony Solari. Is that the first time you've ever had such a dominating performance like that, or is that typically your normal on dirt?
In this league, no. I was expecting, Ken Schultz. He had a really good run early on. I was expecting Richie. Honestly, I know this isn't Brody's forte, but he was having fun towards the end of that race. I know he was happy with it. So yeah, no. As far as wins go for me, that's pretty much up there. Sometimes in the past in NRs, there'd be similar things on a road race, but yeah, as far as dirt goes, it's probably one of my personal bests for that. Because yeah, these guys aren't a slouch, and it'd be nice if we had a few more dirt guys out here. Because yeah, it'd be fun to mix it up.
Yeah, I know you'd also be hoping for a few more dirt races being put on the schedule for the trucks.
Yes, you could sprinkle dirt on every one of these tracks, and I wouldn't care.
Absolutely, we should get all dirt tracks. Maybe talk to your team leader there, Mr. Brody, to see what he can do for you. But we're gonna let you go back to practice. I know you got some work to do on that truck before qualifying in the race. So just want to say good luck out there, and maybe we'll be talking to you after 125 laps.
Yeah, maybe not, but yeah, good luck on the thing tonight, and yeah, hopefully at least some of the teammate gets up in there. So yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.
All right, sounds good, Tony. And that was Mr. Tony Solari, who did win back-to-back weeks on the trucks. We've had 4 weeks completed, and he's won 2 of them. Not sitting first in points, because the rest of these races aren't really, where he shines the best, but he's still sitting there right in the top 5 in points. Only 23 back of his teammate Richie Coy. And practice is actually winding down, Ken. We got about 2.5 minutes left. Yeah. What have you noticed out there so far? How are these trucks looking to you from your perspective?
Fear Motorsports still dominating 3 weeks in a row. Brody Hanna was just on the top spot, and Richie Coy was in second. And then Richie said, let me take that first place back from you. Tony Solari, he's still sitting down there running almost a 30 flat, so he's still within some range. But we got, looks like, almost your top 10, Jeremy, within a tenth of each other. So I think it's going to be a pretty close qualifying effort, and then when the race gets here, I think it's going to be pretty racy. Kind of jump back to Tony. If he didn't have that mishap at Charlotte, I think got in a caution early, ended up being almost like second to the last there. And without that, he would have been right up here with the points, contending with Richie. So you never know, though. We got a long way to go. He says his oval game's going to be improving, and I'm here to see it, and we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, this is one of the more technical tracks for the cookie cutter style shapes. Not being exactly 1.5 miles, but it's close enough. Just a little bit tighter, a little more technical. So this actually might play into Tony's favor if he can find something here in the last minute or two. I did notice the track's starting to cool off a little bit more, just down to 79 degrees on the surface. Wind's only about 7 miles an hour coming out of the northeast at the moment. So partly cloudy. Track, the weather, everything's looking great for a phenomenal race tonight. You see it there on your screen, all the stats from the weather. And since we have like about a minute left Ken, we're gonna do something a little different. I think we're gonna kick it over to a commercial as we run through qualifying. Give a visual shout out this time to all of our sponsors out there that allow us to do this every Wednesday night. So stay tuned with us, and we'll be back with you after a few short messages.
Everybody get up.
Are you ready to chase the moonlight? Community-based and talent-driven, Moonlight Speed Concepts has what you need to take your iRacing experience to the next level. Founded by passionate owners that care about the community and housing some of the top setup builders and drivers on the platform, Moonlight Speed Concepts offers custom paints, driver coaching, and setups for dirt, asphalt short track racing, and eNASCAR competition. Partnered with top brands in both real world and simulation. Follow us on Facebook or visit moonlightspeed.com and find out why these businesses chase the moonlight and why you should too. Moonlight Speed Concept, where all we chase is moonlight.
Welcome back to full screen coverage for tonight's Sim Racing Points Truck Series at the simulated Nashville SuperSpeedway, of course, on the iRacing platform. And a little bit different of a intro there. We got our early commercial break in there for our sponsors. Dustin, if you can throw in one more graphic. We don't have a sponsor plug on the commercial side for Sim Racing Points, which is tonight's Truck Series sponsor. It's your all-inclusive league points management system. It's really the best software you could use when it comes to organizing your points or any stats you want to display on a full page display, or if you want to put it as a widget on the side of your screen. Either way, Sim Racing Points has you covered, and your website's going to look pretty damn good with it too. So, and a pretty good price point as well. You're going to go to simracingpoints.com. Check out the pricing plans. Get your league registered today. You will not be disappointed. All right, so we got about 15 seconds left in the qualifying session. I think the grid is locked in at this point. Mr. Pashibinec, if you want to go down the top 10 running order.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like, taking home the pole tonight is going to be Justin Belmonte. He's having a great season. He's continuing on here, taking the pole spot. Chuck Sweeting going to roll off in second. Brody Hanna in third. Going to have Nicholas Casey in fourth. Rolling off in fifth is going to be Bobby Terrell. Sixth is Lane Allen. Seventh is going to be Richie Coy. Eighth is Brian Bliss. Ninth is going to roll off as Kenneth Schultz. And 10th is Sherwood Williford.
11th place, you're going to find Gil Gaunt. 12th place, Steve Loomis, who actually made a qualifying time. Shout out to him. 13th place, Andrew Palicki. 14th, you're going to find the number 1 of Kevin Rupert. 15th place, Tony Solari, the last 2 weeks Truck Series winner. And 16th place, Jeff Langston. And then the last 3 guys to not qualify, Wayne Grossi, who was running some really strong practice times, starting in 17th. 18th place, you will find Zach McDaniel in that 42. And to round out tonight's 19 truck field, the number 55 of Jeff Braden.
Man, words are hard tonight for us, Jeremy.
Yes, 100%.
So, who do you got to win tonight?
We had this discussion before kicking over to qualifying and to the gridding here, and I have a strong belief that the 19 Richie Coy is going to get this job done. So stout practice times. I know he didn't have the best qualifying time, which will put him in 7th place tonight, but that long run and how fast he is, I think he's going to have the short run and the long run to get it done tonight.
Yeah, that's a solid pick, and I was kind of stuttering there when I was reading Richie Coy run off in 7th. It kind of surprised me there. My pick tonight, 75, Chuck Sweeting. Good qualifying position there and practice, kind of running identical times there, rolling off in 2nd. So I think he's going to make a strong showing tonight. We might see, the Richie and Chuck show. And then I believe our producer, Dustin, I think he's going with the 86 of Nicholas Casey. He's trying to make that redemption of a couple weeks ago when he had that mishap on Sonoma.
Yeah, Sonoma has been eating at him, and we're back on asphalt. So this is actually concrete, rather. So this is going to be his time to maybe make up for that woe. He had that race won. If you don't remember, 2 weeks ago, he had about a 26 or 7-second lead at Sonoma with 4 laps to go, and the engine expired to a wall hit 1 lap previous. So he's definitely wanting to get that checker flag tonight. But pace truck is down. Green flag is out. Underway, Mr. Belmonte. And that number 12 Ford F-150 is going to take the green flag. Chuck Sweeting pretty good on that restart as well. It looks like the number 12 is going to beat him into turn number 1. 23 actually is going to beat the 75 on the low side there, having an advantage on the inside start here as it separates the number 12 and side by side the rest on back.
Yeah, the 86, Nicholas Casey, he's trying to find which way he wants to go. Looked on the low side behind Brody Hanna, jumped back to the high side of Chuck Sweeting, going back to the low side behind Brody. So he's starting early to see where his truck's going to run the best, as we see Chuck Sweeting still on the outside there. Brody Hanna is Justin Belmonte. He's second in points, and he's leading the rookie standings right now. He's going to take that first lap, get that bonus point.
Half a second lead for that number 12. He loves to see those guys side by side in his rear view mirror. That just means only one thing: the tire wear is going to eat up a little bit faster. 91 of Kenneth Schultz gets loose top of turn number 2. He loses several spots, does not spin though. Looks like he's able to keep it going.
That's a good save there by Kenneth Schultz. I was able to hold on to it. Like you said, didn't collect anyone else. Just kind of got back in line, lost a couple spots. But that's okay. That's way better than in the alternative there. But Justin Belmonte, he's like you said, he was enjoying them side by side. But now we got Chuck Sweeting, he's got around Brody Hanna there, so he's able to move his truck down to the low side in the corner of 1 and 2 there, and I expect he'll do the same thing in 3 and 4. We've got Bobby Terrell letting Richie Coy hop back in line here, so that's going to move him up there. 2 champions battling out, so we're never going to see some classy driving there with those two.
Richie Coy already up 2 spots. My pick of this evening gets around Bobby Terrell in that number 4. Right behind now the number 86 of Nicholas Casey. And speaking of battles of the championship winners and whatnot, I know Chuck hasn't won this year, but him and Richie got some fun history here, at least from the time that we've been broadcasting Full Throttle Sim Racing. They love to find each other on the track and race each other hard and clean, which that's what we love to see here.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be very long until Richie's up there. I mean, he was almost to the inside of the 86 there, Nicholas Casey, as they're heading into turn 3. So he's finding it early, and he's trying to make his way through the field. He's already sitting in the top 5, so I don't expect Richie to be too long before he's up there. And we see Brody here with a little bit of a bobble. He was able to hold on to, and that's going to get a run here on the 86. He's looking on the inside of Brody Hanna as they're heading into turn 3.
Looking to make Dustin proud here. Entering 3 on the bottom of the number 23 here. Let's see if he can get that run off the exit of turn number 4 to make that corner happen. He does so. The 23 is struggling just a little bit there. Still the door to open for that 19 as well, as now he is side by side with that 23. Entering turn number 1.
Yeah, KC Cougar going to take that 3rd spot, but Richie Coy, he's going to go ahead and take over that teammate spot as well, and that's going to put him into that 4th position, still right behind the 86 and Nicholas Casey. So those two are moving their way through, and Brody, with that little mishap, lost 2 spots here early. So he's looking to fall back in line, settle back down, and make way. But we still looks like Chuck Sweeting was taking a look on the inside there. Justin Belmonte trying to get the lead coming off of 4, decided better and tucked right back in line. But he's there, Jeremy. He's looking to make a pass.
I was going to say, as these guys all separate and all single filed out, the race for the lead is on right now. Chuck Sweeting putting on a good amount of pressure on that 12 of Belmonte, trying to take over some laps led here on lap number 7 of scheduled 125 at Nashville SuperSpeedway. And I think your pick right now has got an early strong truck.
Yeah, he's looking good early. I mean, all 3 of our picks really are running 2, 3, 4. So it's anyone's battle. And you got the rookie Justin Belmonte. As we mentioned, he's sitting 15 points. Him and Brody Hanna tied for 2nd in points behind Richie Coy. But right behind them, Jeremy, you have Chuck Sweeting in 4th, 21 points back, and Tony Solari in 5th at 23. And you even got Nicholas Casey right there at 24 and 6. So top 6 within 24 points. And they're all sitting here basically in the top 6 of this race.
And just a quick mention, too, chats are open as always, so if you'd love to interact with us at any point during tonight's broadcast, please hit us up on either chat from Facebook Gaming, Twitch, or YouTube. It'll appear on our feed, and we'll be happy to talk or share it with you. So that 75 gets a great run off the exit of turn number 2. Is going to be right up to that back bumper, that 12, Mr. Justin. Looks like Chuck takes a little bit wider of a quarter entry. He's able to bring that number 75 down the track just a little bit more and allows him to get that good run off the corner. Just needs a little bit more speed there, Kenny, to get that run, go side by side.
Yeah, that's all he needs, just a little bit more. Maybe just have a little bobble there by Justin with a great run off the corner there of Chuck. Something that just matches perfect because he's there. I mean, you can see it here on their TV. He's right on that back bumper, and he's looking to make a move. But at the same time, they're the 86 and Nicholas Casey with Richie Coy right there. They're closing the gap a little bit on these guys. So these 2 front runners did have, about a 3/10 gap over 3rd place, and that's kind of shortened up here after that last lap. So not sure if Justin Belmonte's, kind of bringing this thing down or if his tires are getting a little worn on him and Chuck's trying to push it, but definitely looks like he's lost the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I'm almost noticing that the 12 can't get off the corners that well. It looks like I don't know if he's pushing up or just hesitating to get back on the throttle, but that truck is not coming off the exit of the corner well, which is slowing everybody up. You see the 19 right now going around the 86 there on the bottom, looking for 3rd place. It's going to separate 3rd and 4th away from 1st and 2nd just a little bit longer here as he does complete that pass, entering turn number 1. Brody Hanna trying to look at the bottom of Nicholas Casey. But I think the 12 is kind of holding up the field just a little bit. I don't know if that's strategy or if that's just his tire wear not holding up early on. Not entirely sure what's going on just yet. But, I think the whole field is kind of waiting and It's kind of hard to pass here, Ken. These corners are kind of sharp, and if you don't get that corner exit like you want, you just have to try again the next corner.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to see where this plays out for him. I was looking back through the field, Jeremy, sitting here, basically a battle for 11th place. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 trucks here. You see right here on their TV, got a big old gang of them, and they're all trying to run down Kenneth Schultz, and he just got around Gil Gach there for that spot, and sitting behind them, the 42 is Zach McDaniel. He's trying to make his way up through, and then back-to-back, Tony Solari right there as well. So it's quite a little racy pack we got going on back in the back here.
Yeah, side by side, starting in that 91, who's in 11th place right now, and that drops all the way back to the number 55 of Bratton, who's in 18th. So 11th through 18th right now, all just kind of figuring out, oh, the 85 does touch the 11 in the middle, 1 and 2. It's going to cause a domino effect. The 11 is around. The 85 is around, a little bit of side damage on that number 7. I think the number 1 had to go through the grass, avoid some wreck. And that's going to bring out the first caution on lap number 14 here of scheduled 125 at Nashville SuperSpeedway.
Yeah, it wasn't much, Jeremy. It's just a little bit of a touch there. And like you said, it's just domino effect. One goes around, the other one goes around, then everyone just scatters trying to avoid it. And we were there for it. We were watching this battle. We saw, about 6 trucks there going for that one spot. And little too racy there. And just a slightest of touch. I think that was 85. Yeah, we'll see right here on Nerd TV. Just pushed up a little bit, got into the 11, comes back down the 7, and then just finishes off the 11 right there. But I think these guys are going to be pretty good.
85 coming off an impressive run just past Monday in the Cup Series at Iowa, but gets a little bit tight there, a little bit early into the run. It kind of hits the door of the 11. It doesn't take much, Ken, to knock the rear end of these trucks around, spins him around. A couple people. I also noticed, too, on the replay, the 17 of Loomis got a little bit of contact there on that left front. I don't think it's going to cause any tire issues, but so we can go on board here with, I do believe, Mr. Solari. As he entered the corner, you see the 85 barely peek up in his little driver's side window, kicks it around, hits the 1 coming down the racing surface. It's out complete 360 almost, and drives away, thankfully with not too much damage.
I think he had that thing saved too, to be honest with you, until the 85 just got back into him again. You could see where he was getting ready to straighten it up. But it's early though. It's okay. He started back in 15th, so he knows what it takes to get back up there. He already made up 4 spots, and sitting here watching on pit road, Jeremy, we're gonna have a little strategy. It looks like the 4 is gonna beat everyone off pit road with the 18 of Brian Bliss, and then you're gonna see the 12 of Justin Belmonte and everyone else that took 4 tires. I believe those 2, Bobby Terrell and Brian Bliss only took 2 tires on that stop. So change up the strategy a little bit, and we'll see how this restart takes off with those 2 on just 2 tires.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting and Brody Hanna at 75 and 23. Only 2 trucks to not elect to come down pit road this time. They want to save their good years, maybe thinking there's going to be some more cautions along the way. Then you have that 4, Bobby Terrell, and right behind him now, Brian Bliss. He also had that little bit of an issue there on Monday, looking to kind of redeem himself in that only Toyota Tundra tonight on the 2 tire strategy. And then everybody else, like you said, 5th on back is going to have 4 fresh sets of Goodyears.
Yeah, they got 4 sets of tires tonight. So, we're on lap 16, coming around here for 17. So it is early, and there is 125 of these things. So it could be a good strategy as far as keeping the last set. You never know what might happen. It all depends on how it is. We know here at Full Throttle, I mean, we mentioned it last in the broadcast when we had that interview that, 95 green flag laps. They had that caution there on lap 1 or 2, I believe it was. And sometimes, that kind of seems how it happens here at Full Throttle, is if we do have a caution, it's going to be early, and then that's it. So it could play in some favor and might not. Because we know here at Full Throttle Sim Racing, these guys, great, clean racing group of guys, and they don't throw many yellows out here.
They try not to. They really try not to do it. They really set these cars and trucks up for the long run because that's their driving style. They don't have to worry about making little sprint runs when they do that. So these guys are some of the best in the iRacing world as far as a league organization to produce awesome, clean, long green flag laps in any sporting event that they participate in on the iRacing service. But we're about to go back to green flag here. Chuck Sweeting. Let's see if he has any tire spin with Brody Hanna on the top of him. Only 2 trucks to not have any tires changed this pit stop. Only 16 or 15 laps of green flag racing on those tires. So Not too much wear, but it could play into a factor here as they've cooled off. But green flag is back out, 75 and 23 with a nice jump, about 2 truck lengths over that number 4. Bobby Trell and the 18 of Brian Bliss as they enter turn number 1.
Yeah, and the 75 here, like, no tires taken, and we saw how his truck was coming along there on that run, so it could just be right where he likes it and just warming up. So we'll, he had a great start. Brody Hanna as well. He's going out to the inside. We see Justin Belmonte, who took the 4 tires. He's actually going around the 4 and the 18 that only took the 2 tires. So those are falling back to the 4 tires, and Justin Belmonte is coming up quick, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's going to get all the spots back here in a hurry. It seems like that's impressive to have only 2 more tires than the 2 guys in front of you, and you pass them like they're sitting still. So he's currently finding himself in 3rd place, trying to hunt down that 23 next, and gets a great launch off of turn number 2 to make that attack into 3.
Yeah, we see one going on the inside there. I believe that's the 14. Yeah, that is going to be the 14 truck there of Lane Allen. Not sure if he got loose coming off a 2 or what, but I did see him shoot down. Oh, we're going to have a wreck here on the front stretch. You're going to have 4 going through the infield, 91 going around. Looks like we had Finn in there. The 12, yeah, it was a couple cars there, or trucks there.
Man, that's impressive. Justin Belmonte come on the radio and said, "I apologize. The truck got loose all by its lonesome exiting turn number 4. And actually, through the middle of turn 4, his truck started to get loose. Almost saved it, but Richie had nowhere to go, bumps him, and it sends the number 4 through the grass. It looks like Sherwood Williford in that 33 and the 7 of Wayne Grossi take the grouse route to save themselves. You see right here on your TV, there's that bump for the 19. Sends around. Light contact to the number 4, and thankfully, look how close everybody else is, and it misses them entirely.
Whew, that was a close call, and even Richie came over and apologized for getting into him, and Justin said, "Nope, not your fault. That's all me. I messed up trying to get up there and push it and save it." And but like you said, I mean, that could have been way worse. That's a spin that's in the front of the pack, right in front of everybody, and I think the only one that might have got a little bit from that was the 4 of Bobby Terrell as he cut through the infield, but everyone else just right around him.
Josh Mayu on the chat, usually in that number 02, says, "What's up, nerds?" on the YouTube chat. Also says, "Good luck, drivers." Well, they had some awesome luck that time to get around, with a little bit of skill, of course, to get around spinning number 12. Thankfully, only 2 cars, or trucks rather, had damage in that incident. So it's going to bring out your second caution as you guys are going to come back down pit road. And I'm seeing the 75 down pit road. He's the one who did not take tires. He realized that was a bad choice. Now he's going to have to restart into the field for the most part. But the 23 Brody Hanna is the only one without those tires yet.
Yeah, I was surprised to see, Chuck come down. I figured he saw how fast they were, so that's why he was coming down. But Brody must feel confident out there on those older tires. Depending on how that restart was, or he's got a plan up his sleeve. You never know what's going on with what these guys are thinking as far as their strategy goes. Great camera view here by our producer Dustin, as you see all those trucks just avoiding them, scattering through the grass, and Wayne Grossi there, you saw Grossi go through the grass there. So great aversion there by everybody.
Yeah, excellent heads-up driving. A lot of trucks within, a quarter of a truck length, or just a fender amount of gap between them and that 12. No contact, which is pretty impressive stuff. And speaking of the 23 with the no tires, if I see that 19 behind me in my rearview mirror, and I know he's got better tires than I do, it's always an uh-oh moment for me. I just know that, I'm going to be losing my spot momentarily.
Yeah, and he's not even behind him now. He's beside him, so he just has to look over and give him the head nod. So we'll see what happens on the restart here. Brody Hanna, he had a good restart in the last one. But Richard with those fresh tires. Right behind him, you got Brian Bliss, who took the 2 tires as well. So a couple little mix-up here at the front as far as little pit strategy goes. And also, I'm looking at Justin Belmonte's truck. It looks like that little bit of damage that he got from Bobby Terrell, they seem to fix pretty much all of it on pit road, so shouldn't affect him at all, and expect him to kind of move his way back up through there. He did take the pole, and he was pretty fast there on those 4 fresh tires. Yeah, we see a little bit of damage there on the hood.
Yeah, not much at all. This track isn't terribly fast compared to some, so I don't think aerodynamics is going to play a huge factor tonight, but we're going to find out here as the pace car does dip down for the second restart this evening. And we're going to change up this restart a little bit as far as our end's concerned. We haven't done this in a little bit. The Nerd Enhanced Racing Decibels, aka Nerd. We're going to bring out the sounds of the trucks right to your earphones or the speakers or whatever you're listening to. So enjoy the sounds of these trucks as they go around Nashville Super Speedway. Alright, welcome back to our voices here, taking over the coverage. That was Nerd Enhanced Racing Decibels, aka Nerd. The only way we do that is, talking about nerds, and we haven't done that in a few weeks. So I wanted to make sure we had a really good chance there on the restart. These trucks are all bundled up. You hear them the loudest. And Kenny, while we're doing that, huge pack of trucks focused around Kenneth Scholes and everybody else behind him. Looks like there's some passes finally starting to be made, but there's a lot of 2 wide and even 3 wide action behind this 91, and it's all for the back half of the field. 8th on back are all within a blanket of each other.
And the one I've been watching through that whole entire thing is the 12 there, Justin Belmonte. We see him get around the 91 of Kenneth Schultz. He was going high, low, down the apron on the front stretch, getting around people. He started in 19th on that restart after that, bringing out that last caution, and now he's sitting up here in the 8th position. So he wants to get back up to the front, definitely get back up to the top 5. He's still showing that he has the truck that can get up there. But this is where all the racing's at. Richie Coy, he's kind of checked out on everyone. You see the 42 of Zach McDaniels kind of reeled him in a little bit, but yeah, this pack right here is where all the racing's going on right now.
Yeah, just a big pack of trucks, really. The leaders have spaced out, and these guys are putting on the show right now. Looks like it was like the theme before that caution came out before. The 91 had a huge pack of trucks behind him, and doesn't matter after the restart, kind of ended up being the same exact thing. I think it's due to this track. It's hard to produce or pass people around this track, and you're definitely seeing it. They're scrambling to try to pass each other while they're kind of being held up in a way there by the 91, because they just got a little bit faster of a truck. You see the number 7 Wayne Grossi finally making that pass to the bottom, all but cleared him as he's almost door to door here. Entering turn number 3, should be able to clear him this time, and Sherwood Williford looking down low as well to try to take advantage of that spot.
Yeah, if, as long as you can, keep that momentum and have that spot. It takes about a whole entire lap, though. You're going to have to fight on him the whole entire way, be right on that door to make that pass, as we saw Wayne Grossi do it there. It took him a whole lap to complete it. Sherwood, actually, he's trying to do it quick. He's going to do it in about a front stretch here, so he's making a liar out of me, but it's all good. We see the 91 losing a couple more spots, and they're all diving down to the inside. He had a not such a good corner there, and definitely slowed up a little bit, and everyone's making their move. We see Chuck Sweeting there. He's in the 75. He's starting to move up as well after making that pit stop, and he's still got 3 sets of tires, so he's got plenty of time and tires to get back up here.
He's only passed a couple of trucks on that restart. I thought maybe he'd be going for it a little bit harder, but he only has about 3 laps newer green flag laps compared to these guys right in front of him, so there's not much of a difference. We saw him pass that number 11 Tony Solari last lap on the backstretch. Him and the 17 made a little bit of contact, slowed up the 11, put him back a few spots, but now the 17 is starting to fall back, and that number 11 is back on the charge to get around that 17 looking high.
And we've seen it multiple times too with Chuck in the Cup and in the trucks. He's typically in the second half of the race, Chuck starts coming on pretty strong too. He works on the truck and the car a little bit more and more throughout the run, and next thing you know, he's sitting top 5, be battling for the lead or even dominating the second half of the race. So, we're only on lap 35 of 125. I expect him here in the next 40 laps or so. He'll probably be knocking on that top 5 door. So, keep your eye on him, as well as Justin Belmonte. We mentioned it coming up through the field. He's still sitting at 8th place, but he had some ground to make up. But Wayne Grossi, making his return here tonight back in the Truck Series, he's trying to make a pass on him actually.
Yeah, he took that week or so off, and he returned not really showing any rust at all. With these guys, you gotta be persistent. You gotta keep up with the practice and everything to compete on the level that they compete. But he's doing pretty good, running P9 right now, running behind the pole sitter, Mr. Belmonte, who after that wreck, who's kind of struggled to find his groove here, running in 8th place there in that number 12. 6.5 seconds back off your race leader, Richie Coy.
Yeah, I wonder how much of his tires he wore down making his way up through the field. I mean, he did pass 11 trucks there to get into that 8th spot, and he did that within a matter of 5 laps or so as we were watching the nerd there listening to the sounds of these awesome trucks. So he might have burned up his stuff, and we'll see kind of where he settles in, because Wayne was all over the back of him. But looking ahead here, got the 86 of Nicholas Casey right behind Andrew Palicki, who's running in 3rd place. So Zach McDaniel and Andrew Palicki having a great run, those 2 teammates. Still trying to catch Richie Coy, though, who's leading the field.
Yeah, pretty good run by the 32 and 42, as they're right now running 2nd and 3rd place, and kind of closing the gap a little bit on Richie. It looks like the past couple laps, Richie's had the better lap just by a hair. But it's good to see the 32 and 42 up there in the top 3, top 5, trying to compete right now for the race lead. You see that number 86, Nicholas Casey, on your screen right now, looking to the inside of Andrew Palicki, trying to take over that podium position, coming up to lap number 40.
Yeah, that was Zach McDaniel was actually, he's on his own team. The one I was thinking of, 21, Jeff Langston, that's going to be the teammate there, the 32 of Andrew Palicki. But yeah, they're having a great run either way. Those 2 teammates running 4th and 5th, so nothing, worry about that. Still worked out at the end there, and Brody Hanna still sitting in 6th place as well. So kind of spread out after that pit stop, Jeremy. We saw where these guys qualified, and there wasn't much going on as far as movement going. I was looking to see, I think the highest running mover in the race was 4 spots, and now we got Zach McDaniel, who's went from started 18th on the grid to 2nd. Andrew Palicki 13th to 4th. Jeff Langston 16th to 5th. So we're starting to see some movers as this race is progressing along, and I think a little bit has to do with the way the pit strategy played out there for that first caution.
I see a lot of strategy where the guys don't qualify and they end up usually on podium. It's kind of impressive, really. And only being 40 laps into this event, having like that 42, Zach McDaniel, as you corrected, he's by himself on McDaniel Racing. 18th to 2nd. I know he had 2 pit stops to kind of jump, a few spots here and there, but for a truck to go from 18th to 2nd, running a practice lap that was, lower than half of the field when it comes to the quickest time, really impressive stuff there by that 42.
Yeah, it's just showing a great, strength that he has in that truck, and we saw it in the early part of the season, season A earlier this year. I think he was even the points leader at one point in time. Missed a couple races, fell off there a little bit, but he's shown that he can run up front and even, compete for wins. So I'm not really too surprised to see him up here. He's running up with Richie Coy. He's staying within a second of him, and they're putting a gap on everybody else. I mean, Nicholas Casey to Richie Coy's gap is 3 seconds. So these two they're still putting a hurting on the field, and everyone else kind of spreading out. I mean, we still have that little battle back there for ninth. Chuck Sweeting, Sherwood, Brian Bliss, Wayne Allen. Those 4 are all within under a second of each other. So other than that, everyone's kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm watching the Brody Hanna and Jeff Langston battle that 23 and 21. They've been running 1 to 2 tenths off each other here for the past few laps. Putting on a little show for us up here, and I see that Belmonte, that pole sitter in the number 12 behind the 21. I think he's starting to find his groove, Ken. His past few laps, his times have picked up in comparison to everybody else. Last time I mentioned his name, he was in 8th. Now he's in 7th and on the bottom of the 21 looking for 6th place on lap 45.
Yeah, you're saying he kind of looked like he was falling off there, and he might have just been out of the groove a little bit because he did, gain about 11 spots, hit that little wall point, and then now past 2 more people. And as you mentioned, he's moving his way up the field. He's going to be in that 6th place once they come around here, looking to chase down Brody Hanna to get back into that top 5. So he definitely still has the truck and has the speed to get up there. And he's putting it on pretty quick, but right behind him, too, we were just talking about Chuck Sweeting. Now, he wasn't kind of moving up through the field, and now he's sitting back in 9th place. I think he's actually just moved up into 8th place with him and Wayne going at it here, battling for 8th. So those 2 guys have kind of found their groove here later in this run.
Looks like Grassi had a pretty interesting run there on the bottom, shifted up the track, and it's got out 75 to go back around that number 7 of Wayne Grassi. So it'll kind of hold their spots temporarily. 8th place, Chuck Sweeting, 9th place, Wayne Grassi. And Chuck has finally moved up through the field here. When we talked to him about 10 laps ago, he was sitting there back, 15th, 16th place. Now you're finding him in 8th. So he's gained a lot of spots here in a short amount of time.
Yeah, he's moving his way up through, and we kind of see that with him, making that run towards the front later on in the tire run. So ain't even the later half of the race, but still all great. I mean, we've had some big movers, but you mentioned not qualifying and then coming out here and running a strong race. Wayne, he did not, qualify. Put down a decent lap. I think he was probably about just outside the top 10, right inside there, somewhere around 10th place, and he's sent 9th in the race. So again, just goes to show you that some of these guys don't have to run a qualifying lap to come out here and run a good race. So also looking ahead, I'm not sure somehow it was Zach McDaniel or not, but he's now 2 seconds behind Richie Coy, and that was just in a matter of a couple laps. So either Richie, typical fashion, has saved those tires and just checked out again. I had a little mishap with Zach there. I'm going to have to take a look back and see what happened.
It's kind of cycling through as you brought it up, and initially didn't really see his truck just not performing well. Looks like he's gotten a lot tighter on these corner exits, having to lift that throttle more and more than what he prefers. So Richie Coy, his long run dominance, as always, is one of the reasons why I don't count that man out. Coy, if the race is more than 25, 30 laps into a run, he's going to be passing guys. And if he's not behind anybody, he's just going to take off. Up to 2.5 seconds now. He's already gained almost a full second over Zach since we talked about him. But 3rd place, Nicholas Casey and Bill Monte now, who's moved up to 4th, kind of holding their ground a little bit. So it's more so just Zach McDaniel in that 42 kind of struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, having a little bit of tire wear is taking over, but he's losing ground on Richie and also on Nicholas in pretty much the same fashion pretty quick. That KC Racing, though, those 2 teammates, as you mentioned, Justin Belmonte moving up into that 4th spot. We were just talking to him a couple laps ago, sitting in 6th. Now Chuck said, I'm going to take that spot, and Justin's going to go up in that 4th spot right behind his teammate. But his teammate's looking on the inside here. Zach McDaniel trying to take that 2nd spot away from him. Looks like he's going to be able to complete that pass as they're coming off of turn 4 here, coming to the start-finish line. So that's going to put him in 2nd place, dropping Zach McDaniel back to 3rd.
Nicholas Casey now has one guy in front. That's the number 19 of Richie Coy. 3.3 seconds ahead of that 86. And Chuck Sweeting has moved up to 6th place as well, so he's already passed another person since we talked to him. He's making that late race push, or at least in the run that is, but he's still 6.4 back, so he's still got a lot of work to do. And right now, him and Brody Hanna are duking it out. He's actually just got around him as I switch my camera over. It's going to bring Chuck Sweeting back inside the top 5.
It didn't take too long. And it's crazy. Both those guys started 18th and 19th on that restart. Now they're sitting 4th and 5th, and Justin one spot ahead of them, starting back in 19th on the restart. So great run by these guys as far as making their way back up through the field. Chuck has, what would you say, three laps better tires. So, not much of an advantage, if any at all. So great run with these guys, and we'll see where it plays out. And hopefully there's not a broadcaster jinx after I say this, but we mentioned, not many cautions after this race gets going and everyone starts settling in and everything. So you might have to see how these pits come out. If, we've seen some missed pits before, and a little bit, some are faster and some are slower. So once we get around a pit stop scene, we'll see where these guys cycle out and go out from there.
Yeah, I'm knocking on all the wood possible for that curse that we've kind of talked about. We always talk about cautions happening early or late, but usually it doesn't happen, consistently through the whole event. We had 2 early cautions, so if averages play correct, it should go really long green flag run, if not all the way to the very end. You see right there that number 7 fighting that 14 lane out. He was passing trucks here in this past few laps, looking to try to get around that number 7, but struggling just a little bit right now.
Yeah, it's hard to pass here with fresh tires, when tires have been worn down quite a few laps. So anything that you can gain some ground, just kind of sit there, wait patiently. Don't want to push the issue, and just slowly start picking away at that guy and just move up through the field ever so slowly. We see Wayne there. He's still running, top 10, sitting in that 9th position. Kind of been sitting there most of this race once he started and got up through the field. Sherwood sitting 8th place, moved up 2 spots in the race. Switching over to Nicholas Casey, who's gained 2 spots as well, and sitting in 2nd place. So a lot of movers here, and even Justin Belmonte, he's still fighting Jeremy. He's trying to get back up there. He's got his teammate right in front of him. I'm sure those setups are pretty identical, just kind of tweaked a little bit for their liking, but he's trying to get back up there as high as he can.
Yeah, definitely making a strong, impressive move here, going through the field and now to 3rd place. And he's actually gaining time. On your race leader, Richie Coy, his last couple laps, he's averaged about a 31.3. The leader, Richie Coy, 31.4. They're high 3s. So the last few laps have been almost identical, but going 10, 15 laps, that number 12 has been putting on some awesome performance. Getting underneath 5 seconds now of Richie Coy. Not sure about that fuel strategy though, Ken. You know me and that. I don't try to take too much stabs at it to get it correct. But I know it's kind of coming up soon as halfway is approaching, at least from a tire wear perspective. You might want to shortcut the run, take it halfway, and head home the rest of the way if it does go green. So we'll have to see when this strategy starts taking effect.
Yeah, I kind of just throw the notebook out the window and we'll see where it lands and go from there. And we saw, the 42 there. Zach McDaniel lost 2 spots. Chuck Sweeting went by to take 4th position, and Brody Hanna went on by as well. He's going to be in that 5th spot, so he's back up into the top 5. And Zach McDaniel, he's just kind of slowly, it's probably tire wear. We're getting, like you mentioned, getting close to the end of that run. Wearing off as you see him push up a little bit more than others, lose a little bit of ground. So he's still quick, but definitely losing some spots and people reeling him in. So he's hoping that they start coming down pit road here sooner than later, get some fresh set of tires, because we know with the fresh set on there, he's a fast truck.
Make a side mention here too. You see that QR code that's currently in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen? I haven't mentioned it just yet tonight, but it's going to be on your broadcast at least for the month of June. That's for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. If you probably should know about them by now, but if you don't, they are basically the world's largest donation-only based hospital that takes care of children for tons of different illnesses, and they help the families take care of their children by not accepting any payments. It's all 100% donation driven, so the parents, they drop their kid off, they take care of their kid with the highest quality care, and there's no money out of the parents' pockets anytime they go there for any reason. So since they're based off of donations only, we kind of paired up with them a little bit to do that challenge they have out for gamers. 60 minutes a week, which is, for the nerds, that's nothing. But we unlock that the first day of each week that it's available. So essentially at that point, you just take the phone, you scan that huge QR code there on the left-hand side, and any donations appreciated to them. We don't see the money. It's a direct link to the St. Jude's. 100%. All your money goes there, even if it's just $5. If you got just a few bucks to spare, they would highly appreciate it. Okay, these guys are about halfway at this point. Thinking that pit stops might be, an idea for these guys in the back half of the field. Maybe 11th, 12th, 13th place. Maybe they can get a shortcut, try to get some spots gained.
Yeah, we actually got Brody Hanna. He's actually on pit road right now, but I think that's going to be his first pit stop of the night, so he's going to be on a little bit of a different cycle than these guys. And we saw that there was a different group before the first round of pit stops and under the first caution, and then we had a second round of guys on that second caution. So we'll start seeing some guys here within the next 10 laps coming down. But yeah, Brody coming down early, and I think he was the last one that didn't take a set of tires. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I believe he was the only one left.
Yeah, 100%. He was the only one left, but he did pit right at the halfway point. Now it's got people thinking, hey, maybe should I do the same thing? We'll see how this plays out. Going off the tire wear, Brody Hanna was down to 31.4, 31.5. His opening laps were at a 30.2, 30.3. So he was down a whole second and did some. So that's a big difference on the track. If you can gain a second a lap on these guys every single lap, and if they kind of stay out for a while, it might be a good strategy call by that 23 team.
Yeah, as long as he can hold on to it. He's been a little sideways here, coming off of 4 of these last 2 laps, and probably used to driving that thing with the tires with 60 laps on them and not fresh like they were. So slowed him a little bit, but not a big deal. He wants this thing to go green the rest of the race. This thing goes green. This could be a great strategy for him. He was still running in 5th when he came down pit road, and that was on a little bit older set of tires than some of these other guys. So this thing goes green, Jeremy. We could potentially be talking to the race winner right here, but don't want to say anything too early. Knocking on some more wood. Don't want to curse anything. But I'd say now we're going to be under 10 laps, and we're going to start seeing some more drivers come down.
Starting to see some people make some late race moves. Jeff Brayton in that 55 creeps inside the top 10 by passing Jeff Langston. That spot's solely his now. But outside of that, there hasn't been much action on the track here. Got a couple trucks that are nose to tail here. Notably, I'm watching that number 32, Andrew Palicki, try to maintain his top 5 position over that 33, Sherwood Williford, who's putting on a good performance here to try to get around him late into this green flag run. But yeah, just kind of patiently waiting to see when these pit stops do happen. I'm sure Brody is liking to see this more and more, is a second a lap advantage over your opponent every single lap until they pit. Huge.
Oh, so huge. That's such a big gap, and we saw it last season, just between Richie and Chuck a couple of times. One would short pit the other one, and that little bit of time just in one lap, you would see it where if Chuck short pitted Richie, he came out in the lead, and it changed the race. Or opposite way, Richie going in first, came out in front of Chuck, changed the race. So like I said, this is going to be a huge shift if this plays off for him. And what a great battle between these two as well, with the 32 and the 33. They were inches off each other as they were coming off that corner just last lap.
Sherwood really wants that top 5, and he gets really close here in the middle, 1 and 2. Looks like that 32 is just a little bit tighter in the center of these corners. The 33 is looking to pounce and get himself into the top 5. I think for the first time for himself this evening, just a quick notation on Brody Hanna. He's less than a half a track around from Richie Coy as he continues to click down those awesome laps compared to everybody else.
Yeah, he's moving, and it's impressive. We see a 33. He's going around the 32, trying to take that spot. He's not going to move up in front of him. Doesn't want to cut the nose off, but he does have the position. He is clear on the outside. He's going to take that spot, move into the top 5, right behind Chuck Sweeting, who's sitting in 4th, which is kind of closed the gap there on 3rd place. Justin Belmonte as well. Those two are, within a car length or 2 of each other.
Yeah, put on a pretty good run here, I would say for sure. Nicholas Case in the 86, just now under 3 seconds of Richie Coy. About 25 laps ago or so, he was 5 seconds back, maybe 5.5 even. So, continues to get a little closer and closer between the two. And I think I just heard the 55, who's currently in 9th place. I think he's called for his pit crew. I think we're going to see him make the first green flag pit stop. And yes, he does dip down to the apron. You're going to see him enter pit road on lap 72.
Ooh, hard in the wall, 42.
42 spins out, and it's off the course. Looks like his engine's expired, and no caution. Huge.
That's a huge break for Brody right there, who we saw come in super early just because of the way that the strategy was that he had going, but hard hit. And it was such a hard hit, Jeremy. It spun him right down to the inside, and they were like, no, you're good. You're out of the way.
Man, you saw it right there. Brian Bliss coming down pit road. I don't think there was a call out. I didn't hear the radio chat, and the text chat seemed to be pretty clear of anything. And the 42 had no idea. And this track, you have to hit the brakes hard to come down pit road, and 42 just had nowhere to go. You got to hit it. He had such an awesome run there inside the top 5, just doing his thing, to put in some awesome work. But now he's going to expire this race dead last. He's going to be finishing 19th this evening.
Yeah, and he did get into him a little bit there, and I think he still made it down pit road. Brian did, but yeah, not sure if he set it over comps or not, but yeah, definitely with someone over that fast right behind you, want to call it out just to warn him, because now that's going to hurt Brian's truck quite a bit, and definitely killed Zach's truck. So as you mentioned, great run for tonight, and unfortunate that had to happen, but crazy that it kept it green though. So we're still green flag racing right now, and everyone's kind of cycling through. We see 75 on pit road. That's the 14, Lane Allen. He's making his way down pit road. 33, Sherwood Whitford's rolling off of pit road right now, as you see on their TV. So we got quite a few on here that's making their pit stops.
Yeah, 17, Steve Loomis. 85, Gil Gawk, servicing by the crew right now. As we were talking about that wreck, the 32, Andrew Palicki, and the 21 of Jeff Langston also made pit stops. Right now you see the number 1 of Kevin Rupert making his pit stop. So pit stops are definitely underway for hopefully the final time this evening. I think the number 4, Bobby Terrell, I think he was calling for something as well.
Richie Coy coming down as well.
Richie Coy in the 19 giving up that race lead. I see Bobby coming right in front of him as well. Number 11, Solari. The 91, Kenneth Scholes. A lot of pit stops here in just a few short laps.
Yeah, we're going to have to see where they cycle through, and it's going to... I'm really interested to see, though, where Brody, how much of a gap he's going to have here with these guys, Jeremy, because he was running so well even before he came down for his pit stop, was running in 5th. Yeah, Richie was out there between the gaps between 1st and 5th, but he still had a great run going on too. So he needs to get out there. He was hitting those laps, hitting fast laps. So as long as he's put enough time down and see if he can get out in front of these guys, and he's got enough of a distance, he could be able to hold them off. But we saw how fast Richie was, so we'll see where he holds up. Wayne Grossi, he's coming down pit road as well.
Yep. Made a pretty solid pit stop entrance there. A little bit on the slower side, but didn't want to make any issues happen for that number 7. He's going to come down and hit his mark for the pit crew to service him before fresh Goodyears and a full tank of Sunoco fuel. But I think that's going to cycle most of these guys through. Going to bring Brody Hanna back into the picture here. Should be taking the lead in first, I think. After everyone crosses the line, I have to wait for the official results to refresh on this end, which it looks like it will. And it's by a pretty decent margin, Kenny. It looks like about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
separate that 23 versus that 19.
I'm wondering if it's going to be enough. We're sitting here. We got 45 laps to go with a 5-second lead. So you can do the math, and he's got to hold on for X amount of time, see where he holds up. But, he's already, I think he came down lap 62, 63, I want to say. So 17 lap difference on these tires. We'll see how much ground Richie can make up, but Brady just needs to keep it steady. Richie's already within 4 seconds, so we'll see what happens here. But look who's right behind him, Jeremy. Chuck Sweeting. He's going to be in third place.
Yeah, I was going to mention him. He pitted 3 laps prior to that 19, and he found himself within 1 second of potentially your race leader when this thing's all said and done. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Since green flag's outside, fully cycled through, we're going to take our a little bit later than halfway commercial break. Give one more shout out to all of our sponsors out there. So hang tight. We're going to go side by side.
Are you ready to chase the moonlight? Community-based and talent-driven, Moonlight Speed Concepts has what you need to take your iRacing experience to the next level. Founded by passionate owners that care about the community and housing some of the top setup builders and drivers on the platform, Moonlight Speed Concepts offers custom paints, driver coaching, and setups for dirt, asphalt short track racing, and e-NASCAR competition. Partnered with top brands in both real world and simulation. Follow us on Facebook or visit moonlightspeed.com and find out why these businesses chase the moonlight and why you should too. Moonlight Speed Concept, where all we chase is moonlight.
Welcome back to full screen coverage for the Sim Racing Points Truck Series. We are currently on lap 90 of scheduled 125, so that's going to bring 35 laps left after they cross the line this time by. As we come back to you, Mr. Richie Coy has gained his lead back over Brody Hanna, having that huge advantage on the late tires. We thought Brody's idea of the early pits was going to work, and sometimes you got to risk it all if you're not the fastest, and it was going to work out, Ken. But the 19 is showing the way right now.
Yeah, he was, risking it for the biscuit, and it just didn't work out. But he's still sitting back in 5th, and that's where he came down pit road, was running in 5th, and after the pit cycle comes through, still running in 5th. So can't really be too upset because he didn't lose any ground. He, led a couple laps, got some bonus points in there, and now falls back in line. I mean, he's got 5 seconds over 6th place, so he's got quite a bit of room there. But our picks, Jeremy, running 1, 2, and 4. Richie Coy leading the way, Chuck Sweeting in 2nd, Justin Belmonte, Casey Racing in 3rd, and his other Casey Racing teammate sitting in 4th of Nicholas Casey.
Yeah, keep your eye on that Nicholas Case at 86. He was that late charger there in that run, and if he can string together some fast laps a little bit earlier on in that run, I think he's going to find himself on the podium no problem. He's only 6/10 back of that pole sitter from tonight's race, Justin Belmonte. I think he's going to be the one to watch. He might be able to run down that 12, toward the end of this run here, and even potentially maybe try to sneak up on Chuck and Richie. I don't know, but Chuck actually a little bit faster that time than Richie, only 1.2 back.
How many times have we seen this before, though? Especially last season between these two, battling out, having close finishes, and coming down to the wire. And we see one dominate the race, and then the next one either takes over and dominates it. But hopefully, we're coming down about 30 laps to go here shortly, and these two were within a second, just over a second of each other. So we still got plenty of time and see what happens. We're not going to see another pit stop. We know that. So as these tires wear on, we're going to see how these guys handle the trucks.
Yeah, I think I briefed on it just slightly about how the 19 and 75 seem to find themselves on the track no matter what they're racing in, and tonight is another example of that. They are now 1 and 2, trying to run each other down to see who can win tonight's Nashville 125. Right now, Chuck Sweeting another 10th faster than Richie Coy that last lap. 1.1 now separates them two.
Yeah, it's getting close. So definitely going to keep our eyes on these two, and even those teammates, Nicholas Casey and Justin Belmonte. We know how their trucks, start driving after they get some laps on those tires, and they seem to pick up some speed. So we'll see where they play out. And sitting back here as well, you got the 91 Kenneth Schultz with a couple of trucks behind him again. 12 Justin Belmonte, the 11 of Tony Solari, and the 86 there of Nicholas Casey, trying to get by the lap car of Kenneth Schultz. Lap truck, sorry.
Pretty good battle here as well. Yeah, you got Sherwood Williford and 33 to 32, Andrew Palicki in that 14 laying out, and you got them on your screen right now, halfway down the back straightaway. These guys are currently battling for 6th, 7th, and 8th place, which, oddly enough, Kenny, the battles that we've been kind of focusing on and off throughout this race have been in the middle of the pack, not so much in the front. These guys are all relatively in the same category, run the same strategies, has very similar setups. And it's been fun to watch these guys back here in mid-pack.
Yeah, there's been battles all over. I mean, they space out a little bit, and these had different groups that battle it out. But like you see right here, the 33, 32, they've been going at it all night. I see the 14 away now, and right behind them trying to battle it with them. And then a little bit further back from them, you got the 21. The two Jeffs, so the 21 to 55, they're going at it. They're within a few truck lengths of each other, and Wayne Grossi, who's sitting back there, who's had a strong night at times, and then it's kind of faded off, gotten a little bit of damage there, a couple of incidents, but I think he's pretty much has a solid top 10 truck all night as he's sitting in 11th place right now.
Yeah, I think that damage has kind of just tightened up that number 7 Pennzoil Chevrolet just enough to, kick him outside the top 10. I think he had, a truck that was able to contend possibly for a top 5. Definitely know he's going to be inside of a top 10, but that truck's just running a little tight at the moment. Chuck Sweeney has fell back 2/10 past couple laps over Richie Coy since last time we talked to him. As you see the 55 here, going around that number 21 and makes that pass, entering turn number 3 this time. So that's going to move that 55 up to 9th place.
Yeah, great pass there by Jeff Broughton to get around Jeff Langston there, and Wayne closing the gap there as these two are going side by side racing, still battling out. Wayne's trying to get up there and squeeze into the top 10. And also another one to look at, Jeremy, as we mentioned, and Brody Hanna had about a 5-second lead over 6th place. Well, that's dwindled down to about 3 seconds now. So Sherwood's trying to run Brody down and get into the top 5, and right behind Sherwood, as we mentioned just a couple laps ago, we got Andrew and Wayne Allen there. So 25 laps to go. We'll see how these tires hold up for Brody Hanna with this strategy he's doing with the one-stop shop.
5-second lead down to 9.5 seconds behind the race leader in the amount of time that Richie Coy pitted, which wasn't honestly too long ago. What was it, about 15, 20 laps, I think, at this point, and at most. And he's already lost, 14 seconds or so since the pit stop cycle through. So that's a huge difference in tire wear between the 23 and your leaders right now. Back to 9.7. So yeah, we might see a position change. We might see that 33 take over 5th place. We might see Andrew Palicki as well, and the 14 Elaine Allen. All those guys are kind of bundled up there. They might be passing Brody Hanna before we know it.
Yeah, they're coming. You can definitely see the gap is getting closer and closer, and all 3 of them are making their way up. So we're going to have a battle here for the top 5, and that's a top 5. So these 3 that we see here on our TV, they're going to give it. They're all trying to get up there and be that first car to catch Brody, because they want to get that top 5 position, get the max points that they can get for the day. And that's a stat. You get the top 10, but you also want to get top 5. So I don't expect once they get up there, they're going to be doing some racing and kind of checking back up on that was leaders as well. Richie Coy is kind of checking out a little bit. He's over 1.5 seconds now on Chuck Sweden.
Yeah, top 3 for the podium if you want the interview outside of that. Top 5s and top 10s, what shows up on that stat board. So if you're in 6th place, hunting down 5th, you want to have that one extra one on the column for top 5. So that's why you see these guys grind a little bit harder at it. Brody Hanna is now just under a 2-second advantage on that 33, as he's continuing to fall back, 5-6 tenths a second per lap. So I think just in a matter of the next 5 laps, maybe 10 laps tops, we're going to see some position changes here. As you can see right now on screen, your number 12, Belmonte, your pole sitter, of course, currently running in 3rd place, got just a 6-second advantage, or 0.6 of a second advantage, still over that number 86, Nicholas Casey.
Yeah, he's still trying to hold on to it, and he's had a strong truck all night. I mean, we saw it when he qualified on the pole, and was able to run up front for the first part of that race, so that caution, and then pushed it there on the restart after those fresh set of tires and spun himself around. But he's made his way back up. Had that restart in 19th and moved all the way back up to 3rd, and just showing that he's got that top 5 truck and trying to stay ahead of his teammate and truck owner there, Nicholas Casey. So, we got 20 laps to go. That's still a lot of racing here. I mean, I know it's only 20 laps, but there's a lot that could happen, especially with how hard it is to pass on here, especially with this tire wear going on.
Yeah, and we're going to start seeing some passing real soon with the Brody Hanna situation falling back to the field. We got Sherwood, Andrew, and Lane Allen all within 0.4 of each other. And so these guys are going to get bundled up here. They already are bundled up, but they're going to get bundled up as they come across the lap traffic. Of course, with that 23 kind of going to be in the ways. He is the next truck on their radar, and I would say in the next couple laps they're going to be there. So, yeah, anything can happen, especially when you got this kind of scenario where one slower truck has to get around, or 3 faster trucks have to get around him while trying to maintain their position and not lose ground to the competitors directly behind them. So, yeah, I'm going to be on your side. They got to be a little bit cautious. They got to watch the mirror, and they got to watch the front windshield at the same time. Let's see who can get around number 23 the fastest and kind of hold their position.
Yeah, and I mentioned, you want to be the first one. I'm sure Sherwood's leading the way on that pack, but that might not be the case sometimes either, because he might be trying to make a pass and can't get by and holds him up, and then next thing you know, you can see Angel Palicki going on the inside, and then next thing he can get around Brody, no problem. So, sometimes you might get there first, but it's just getting around someone. It's one thing to get there, it's another thing to get around them. So once they get there, we'll see what happens. And a little bit further back behind them, we had the two Jeffs back there fighting it out, and Wayne was closing that gap. But Wayne got around both of them back into ninth position, where he's kind of been sitting all night, riding in that ninth position. So got that spot back and trying to set sights on those trucks in front of him, but might be a little too far, a little too late. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, as the laps do wind down, they are currently coming up on to lap 110. That's going to bring you 16 laps left here at the Nashville SuperSpeedway. You see Chuck Sweeney just continue to fall back just a tenth here and there over Richie Coy, almost a 2-second advantage between them two. Belmonte and Nicholas Casey, the closest they've been in a while, only 3/10 separate third and fourth place. And we see the number 23 of Brody Hanna and the 33 of Williford, just a few truck lengths separate them. So we have some potential position changes in multiple different spots of the track.
Yeah, in lap traffic as well. You see the one right there, Kevin Rupert, not trying to give up the spot, but also not getting out of the way either. So it's going to slow up. Bro's going to go on the inside here, trying to see if he can make that pass. He is going to be able to do it, no problem. Sherwood's trying to get by as well. He doesn't need to get held up at all, and he does make that pass as well on the one of Kevin Rupert. So great drive there. Looks like the one just timed that perfectly, getting up out of the way as they were heading into 3.
And we had some issues with lap cars. We saw the number 18 just at Iowa this past Monday have an issue trying to lap down, trying to get around a car that was on the lead lap and caused a wreck and brought out a caution. So, like you said, something weird could happen. We've seen it before, just as of recent. You see the 33 is a massive amount of pressure on that 23. 23 just doesn't have the tire wear. I don't think he's going to be able to hold him off, and does not fight him going through the tri-oval. It's going to allow that number 33, Sherwood Williford, to make the attempt to pass on the inside of turn number 1. And we have a new guy in the top 5.
Yeah, that's going to put the 33 Sherwood in the top 5 and move Brody down in 6th position. And Brody's still got to hold off these other guys. He's actually making the challenge back. He's going to try to get to the back bumper of Sherwood's head in its corner. I think this is where he's going to lose the ground, though. Like you said, just doesn't have the grip like he did before. At least it doesn't look like it, but he's still able to hold up a little bit. But yeah, as you see right there, just going to have too much of a gap. And even the 32 now, Andrew Kalicki, he's closing the gap with Wayne Allen right there. They both got around the one of Kevin Rupert.
That's what we just call just giving it one last effort there, shoving them into turn number 3, and then got really tight through 3 and 4, had no exit speed. Allowed that 32 of Palicki to get to his back bumper, and now entering turn number 3 for the next lap, that 32 is going to make that pass to the bottom of the 23. That's going to put Brody Hanna back to 7th place. You see the 14 to Lane Allen staying the door wide open. Going to try to take that spot, and does so basically with ease. Going to drop Mr. Hanna back to 8th place, move Lane up to 7th, Andrew up to 6th.
And as you mentioned, after those round of pit stops, went from being first 5 seconds ahead to about 20-second difference now, because he's sitting 15 seconds back of your race leader Richie Coy. But it was worth a shot. He tried to do the one-stop strategy, and it just didn't work out for him tonight. But that's okay. Still great, solid run. He's going to most likely bring this thing home in 8th, but he's still fighting it out here with Wayne Allen. He's not giving up too soon on Wayne Allen. The 32, he's trying to get away so he can make up some ground on Sherwood. He's still looking for that top 5, and that's what Wayne Allen wants to do. Wayne Allen wants to get this 23 in his rear view as it slides up right in front of him. Almost a little bit of contact there.
Really surprised that Hanna was able to maintain that high line for at least a lap on that 14. 14 finally had it just cleared enough, slid up into the 23, and made a little bumper contact, but no harm, no foul. Everyone's going straight, which is good to see. So now they've kind of single filed out at this point. So focus to me, I'm going to turn that attention to 3rd and 4th place, Belmonte and Nicholas Casey. Been kind of keep my eye close on these guys. 4/10 still separates them two for 3rd and 4th place. This is for podium. This is for the interview at the end of the race. So the 86 Casey, we know he's got the longer run built into that setup, as we saw in the last long run, and he's slowly creeping in on that 12. He just needs to string together a few solid laps, consistent laps, We might see a good battle here as we got about 8 laps to go.
And this is what Justin is looking for. He's trying to get his 5th top 10 of the season, his 3rd top 5. Like we mentioned, he's 15 points entering the race out of in 2nd place on Richie Coy, so he can't lose any more ground. He's, especially with Richie leading this race, he's trying to gain as much spots as he can and not lose one more to his teammate. But he's still trying to keep a nice battle and hold off his teammate. And that's, other than Brody Hanna and Wayne Allen still going at it, I think this is the only other battle that we're going to have here in the last 6 laps.
Yep, going to have to agree on that for sure. The race leader, Richie Coy, is 1.9 seconds ahead of still second place Chuck Sweeting. And only 5/10 now separates 3rd and 4th. Outside of that, 7th and 8th place are still on fire. They're only 1/10 separating those guys. That being the 14 of Wayne Allen and the 23 of Brody Hanna, which still surprised Kenny that number 23 is able to maintain that speed, though that tire wear difference is huge right now.
Yeah, it's he's got the straight speed. It's just the corners sometimes is where he's losing some of it, with that tire wear. But if he's able to get a good run off the corner, chase Wayne Allen down, try and get a little bit, if anything, of his draft that he can, and pull right on up to him, because he's still trying to get that spot. I mean, he's right there in front of him, 7th place. Nope, actually I hear 23 is coming over the radio. He's coming down pit road with 5 laps to go, Jeremy. He's not going to be able to make it. Oh, that's not what Brody Hanna was wanting to see tonight.
That's going to drop him back from 8th place if he does make this pit stop. And he's trying, and he makes it. Good stop there to come down. That's going to move him back from 8th place to potentially down to 17th, depending on when he can get out in and out real quick. Now back to 17th place. That's, all those guys are only 1 lap down. So he needs to have a quick just stop and go on the field. Don't need tires, of course, because we're down just to 1 or 2 laps away from ending this event here. But that sucks, man. Just a few laps shy, and he could have made it. And he's going to lose all those positions that he worked hard to maintain, and bringing it back onto the track. Belmonte's increased that gap by 7/10 over Casey. So if he keeps that up, Belmonte's going to claim the 3rd place podium position. But Richie Coy still 1.8 out with 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, Richie and Chuck, we've seen it a lot last season, and they're trying to kick it off where we were before, finishing 1-2. It just depends on what order they want to be in. Justin Belmonte, I think he got into the wall there as they were entering that last corner. Teammate Nicholas Casey trying to close the gap. We got 2 laps to go. Richie Coy setting his sights on that white flag. He's just a few hundred feet away from that, taking the white flag as he's coming to the start finish line right now with 1 to go. Richie Coy's gonna try to lead it back around and take the win.
Spotlight is on that number 19, looking to bring home a 2nd victory this season here in the Truck Series. He's got a half a track left before he does claim the checker flag and the trophy for the Nashville 125. Enters turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Smooth as he could be in that Ford F-150 from Fury Motorsports, Richie Coy, winner of tonight's Nashville 125.
Winner, chicken dinner. That's who you picked for the night, Richie Coy, and he comes home with the win. Chuck Sweeting, my pick's going to come home in 2nd. And then Justin Belmonte, Jeremy, rounding out that top 3. Another great run by him, leading the rookies. But Richie Coy, still another dominating performance by Fury Motorsports.
Shout out to us for getting picks 1st, 2nd, and 4th. It's like we kind of know what we're doing up here at this point. Kind of know who to watch and whatnot. Great race overall. Little early sketch with a couple of cautions and whatnot, but after that, smooth sailing for the final. Probably 100 laps, just shy of 100 laps of solid green flag racing, and just I feel bad for the 23. Put on a great race, early pit strategy, and just 2 laps shy of making it all the way to the end. But Richie Coy right now in that 19 Sunoco Ford 150. You're seeing him burn it down. As we're gonna get this, get the grid or the finishing results on your screen, so we can see the entire running order. Richie Coy obviously takes it home in 1st place. Chuck Sweeting finishing in 2nd. Belmonte He's going to take it home in third place. Fourth place, you're going to find Nicholas Casey. Fifth place will be Sherwood Williford. Sixth place, Andrew Palicki. Seventh, Lane Allen. Eighth place, Wayne Grassi. Ninth, Jeff Brighton. In 10th place, Jeff Langston.
And coming home in 11th is right where he started in 11th, Gil Gawk. 12th is going to be Brian Bliss. 13th is going to be Steve Loomis. Coming home 14th, Tony Solari. Couldn't do the three-peat tonight. He'll bounce back next week. 15th is going to be Kenneth Schultz. 16th, Kevin Rupert. 17th is going to be Brody Hanna coming out home with that late pit stop with 5 to go. 18th, Bobby Terrell. And finishing 19th is going to be Zach McDaniel.
And that's hard too, man. He was running top 2, top 3 basically the entire night, and to have a pit strategy gone completely wrong, not of his doing, you just hate to see that kind of thing. But that's part of the racing world, and sometimes that happens. But this will kick it off to the Martin Sports post-race show, where we get to talk to the top 3 and see how their race went for each these drivers out here tonight. I think they're out of their trucks. We're going to see if we can get a quick word with Belmonte minimally. And actually, I don't see him available. So we're going to actually scoot up to second place, Mr. Chuck Sweeting, and that number 75 Gator Racing Chevrolet. Mr. Chuck, you got a copy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Going pretty good, man. That race was pretty strong. And whenever you and Richie, were first and second, I was like, well, we haven't seen this more than, 100 times at this point, where you two just, seem to find each other each and every week. And this time, Richie had just a slight better truck, but I feel like, as the run kept going and going, I thought maybe you had a chance to come back from that 2-second disadvantage. But overall, congratulations on second place, man. How did that race go for you tonight?
Yeah, it's kind of up and down. I didn't pit when everybody else pitted, and then we got a caution a little bit later, or just a few laps later, and I pitted then, but I had to come up through the field and didn't quite get to him, and I short pitted, and I could stay with him, but he had about 4 lap fresher tires than me. Otherwise, I think we were pretty even. It probably would have been a pretty fun battle for the win, but my connection got kind of bad, and somebody came on the radio and told me, and I had to drop to the back a second time, and just never could get all that time loss made back up again. But pretty good race overall, and happy with the truck, and we'll see if we can improve a little bit for the next one.
Yeah, you mentioned it starting, coming from the back to the front a couple of different times there. I picked you to get the win tonight and got second place just short there. We were up here in the booth looking to see another great Richie and Chuck battle there at the end. And like you said, I think if you didn't have it going to the back there that one time, it would have been a different outcome towards the end of there. But how did the truck feel all night as that run progressed throughout the race?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. There was times when it was a little bit free, and then there were times where it was a little bit tight. I loosened it up, took some wedge out of it under that last pit stop, but it didn't really seem to change it a whole lot. But I'm not really sure what the deal was. It might have been bottoming out a little bit somewhere, and I might have been losing a little bit of time that way. But overall, it was pretty balanced. It's just a little bit off tonight.
Yeah, just by a hair. You basically ran identical laps with Richie, just a few tenths here and there. That's all you needed. And yeah, that's no good when you hear the internet connection issue, because you don't know, that could go completely out of your favor and kick you out. You kind of holding on and waiting, but you still brought it home second place. Congratulations, man, on the podium runner-up position. Is there anybody out there that's watching their TV out tonight that you'd love to give a shout out to?
Just thanks to my teammate Gil for the work he does with the setups and the paint schemes, and just everybody with the league for all the hard work. Congrats to Richie. He deserved it. He ran a good race, and we'll see if we can get him on the next one. But yeah, just thanks to everybody that puts these things on for us.
Absolutely appreciate those kind words, and go ahead and celebrate with your team, man, for that strong second place finish.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
You got it. And that was Chuck Sweeting, driver of that Gator Racing Chevrolet Silverado. They're bringing home second place. Looks like Belmonte is ready for his post-race interview. Try to bring him in here. Mr. Belmonte, you got a copy?
What's happening, guys? How are you?
Doing pretty good up here in the booth, man. Looks like you had a pretty strong truck. Started first place. You ran up front all race long. A little bit of an issue about a quarter of the way through the race, and then you found your groove and you made it yourself all the way back up to third. Of a roller coaster. Explain your night.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy ride. I should have been more patient there on that restart. I went to go below the 23 truck there, who was on older tires, and taking that weird low line on those restarts on the cold tires. It was just a bad idea. I got a little loose, and Richie got me there coming out of the corner, but totally my fault. And it was pretty good to bounce back and actually drive all the way up to third, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was quite a battle up there. I mean, on that restart, didn't have too much damage, which was nice. Yeah, it looks like you had it saved, and like you mentioned, Richie got into the back of you. Work on it, moved from 19th on that restart all the way up to, as you mentioned, third place to take it overall. But you moved up pretty quick to eighth, and then once you got there, you slowly picked off everyone else. But that's going to bring three top fives this season, top 10 in every race this season. So great, rookie of the year performance, and overall, I mean, you're still going to be only about 17 or 18 points behind Richie there. So great run and great way to make your way back up through the field. It was fun to watch you.
Yeah, thanks, dude. We're still searching for that win. I think tonight would have been a good shot at it if we didn't have to start at the back there. We had a pretty strong truck if we didn't get the damage. So, but good showing for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with you, man. You definitely had the truck, I think, to beat at least early on for sure. But as we wrapped up things with you, is there anybody out there that's watching the Nerd TV world that you'd love to give a shout out to?
I don't know if anybody's watching tonight, but we got some family watching every once in a while, and some teammates. So shout out to them for helping us with the setup and everything, making this work.
Yes, sir. Appreciate those words. And you go have yourself a good rest of your night. Go and celebrate with that team on your pretty impressive top 3 run for the most part this evening.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys for putting it on for us.
Yes, sir. And that is your third place finisher, Mr. Justin Belmonte. And that's going to leave someone that we talked to in the pre-race who did finish second place last week, Mr. Richie Coy. See if we can get a word with him. Richie, welcome back to the booth, man. Congratulations on that victory.
What's up, double nerds?
What's up?
2-timing it tonight here in the booth. Getting even more cozy up here as we seem to talk to you guys, or talk to you specifically quite often. But dominant race, like you were my pick tonight. I knew you had a strong truck. It took a couple of incidences, one from like the number 12 of Belmonte to kind of succumb to the lead, and then Brody with a really impressive type of strategy to pit halfway through and just came up a few laps shy. But that tire race seemed to be huge here at Nashville.
Yeah, there was a lot happening there. Chuck was fast tonight. He was really, really fast. Nick was fast, and Justin was fast. And yeah, I mean, he got loose that one caution. He got loose in front of me, and I literally had nowhere to go. I didn't even have time to check up. That's how much it slowed down in front of me. And I hate that caused a big wreck. And fortunately, he was able to bounce back. But I think it ruined some other people's nights. But Brody ran out of fuel. He didn't pit. He pitted that first time and then forgot to pit the other, or didn't pit the other 2 times. So he had 5 laps shy in fuel.
Yeah, that was a close call on him. He almost pulled it off, was just a couple laps shy. And, even that little incident you were talking about with Justin there coming off the turn, everyone kind of scattered and avoided it. Did you end up picking up any damage? It doesn't look like you did from the performance that you had, but I didn't know if they maybe worked on anything or anything like that. But it was overall a strong performance tonight. I mean, I was surprised as I was reading off the grid. I was like, 7th, Richie. Wait a minute, Richie's starting 7th. So, starting in 7th, get up to the front pretty quick there is nice, impressive run to see.
Yeah, actually, I got 1.6 seconds of optional damage from that, so it wasn't too bad. I was really worried that it was going to be an overheating issue there, but it didn't seem to bother the truck at all. It was on rails. I mean, it just, when you get out in clean air like that, you can kind of do your own race, and I brought it down to literally my spotter was yelling at me to pit because I had no fuel to make that lap. So I wanted to make sure I had the freshest tires at the end, and paced Chuck towards the end of the race there. And what can I say? My teammates, we put another great car and a great truck under us.
Yeah, definitely. That truck was pretty bad fast, just like most nights that we catch you every Wednesday here. And as from an honorary nerd to another, congratulations once again on the victory tonight. Our producer, Mr. Dustin, kind of keyed up and asked, when are we going to see some nerd love on one of the trucks here?
We'll have to see if we can get some trucks in the paint booth for that.
Yeah, right, for sure.
You guys got
But
to send me a logo or something.
there we go. Yeah, we'll hook you up for sure, man, for sure. All right, we'll go ahead and celebrate with the rest of the team tonight on the awesome performance here at Nashville, and have a good rest of your night.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Yes,
Can't
sir.
wait to watch it back tomorrow.
Yes, sir. And that was your finishing, or your first place finisher, Mr. Richie Coy, in that number 19 Ford F-150. And Kenny, overall thoughts for tonight's race?
Good race overall. I mean, we saw how it was a challenge to pass on this track, and once the tire wear started taking effect, it made it even harder. And we had different strategies going on, especially with that early yellow that kind of threw a curveball at everybody, and then we had one right after that threw another curveball. So we saw Brody trying to go for it, didn't quite make it, and you have one like Richie who went as long as he could to get the freshest tires. So overall, I thought it was a great race.
Yeah, likewise. There's quite a few battles around the track, middle of the pack, in front of the pack. So pretty racy overall. Nashville did not disappoint for sure. As we're going to pull up the schedule here for the remaining races for 2022B. I know we're only 5 weeks in of 14. We still got 11 more of these things to go. But should be pretty fun here. Chicago, Atlanta, New Hampshire, some of your cookie cutter styles. And then one I'm kind of looking forward to, other than the season finale at Daytona, Lucas Oil Speedway, the short track, one of 2 left on the schedule. Should be a fun one for sure. But to close out tonight's broadcast, of course, I'd like to thank our sponsors one last time. We've done 2 visuals. We haven't actually done the actual read over. So just want to give a quick shout out to everyone verbally. Full Throttle Sim Racing Series. Sign up, get registered. Awesome racing, 4 nights a week. FTSR.net, or if you want to type it out in full, you can do the Full Throttle Sim Racing.net. You see the racing is always fun and enjoying to watch, and it's even more fun on the track. So get out here and join us. ARCA's tomorrow, Kenny. So it's free to sign up for that one and on the Saturday stuff. Mach 1 Performance, the Monday Night Cup Series sponsor, Race Fabrication Shop, made by Johnny Coy. Produces championship winners from the SCCA and NASA dirt pavement oval. If your race car needs some fabrication work, this is the shop to go to. Check out Mach 1 Performance. Sim Racing Points, official truck series sponsor for tonight and every Wednesday night. Mentioned them once before after our first set of commercial breaks. The points management system that your league desperately needs is going to produce tons of information for you. Check out the pricing plans and get yourself registered. SimRacingPoints.com. Shout out to Martin Sports, home of the sim gloves of all sim racing. I'm going to pull out my gloves here because Dustin makes me do this on Monday now. I'm kidding. He doesn't actually make me, but I love to display these things. Super awesome quality. They make t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Fastest turnaround in the business as well. And next week, we might see the nerd gloves finally being displayed. You have to keep your eye out on that. Head over to martinsports906.com. Use that promo code SUPERNERD for 25% off. Shout out to iRacing iFlag, the official flag partner for Nerditudes. It's a 4x6 3D printed unit, sits on your desk, displays up to 30 different iRacing commands and notifications. Any type of flag, any type of spotter command, whether it's high or low or anywhere in between. You're going to go to iRacingIFlag.com. Use that code SUPERNERD once again for 15% off when you purchase one of his products. Butt Kicker, the official audio enhancement partner of the Nerditudes, especially the Gamer 2 unit. Basically, this unit just attaches to your center post in any racing chair or just computer chair in general that you're sitting in while racing. And it gives you that much-needed feel and performance from the track directly into your seat. Kind of puts you in more like a real life scenario, kind of completes your sim rig. And you're going to find that at thebuttkicker.com. Use promo code NerdTV for 20% off. Quick shout outs to Moonlight Speed Concepts. You can find them at moonlightspeed.com. Our paved setup partner for the Nerditudes. Anything from the Advanced Legends, always all the way up to the next gen cup cars. They got your back covered, and they're going to get you some much needed wins on the W column. So once again, head over to moonlightspeed.com and houseofspeed.us, the dirt side. Once again, they have professional setups from the dirt, anything dirt oval related, nothing on the rallycross side. But if you're driving a big block modified or a late model, they got your back as well. Head over to houseofspeed.us. And lastly, Nerd Focus. They're a think drink partner for the Nerditudes. They keep us alert, wide awake for whatever task we have ahead of us. 2 flavors, pretty simple: green sugar, blue sugar free. Either way, you're going to use Super Nerd at checkout for 10% off. And this is going to conclude tonight's broadcast, kid. We're going to catch you guys next Monday coming up here, 1 week shy before the holiday 4th of July break. So make sure you stay tuned for this Monday. And until then, you guys, as always, stay safe and get your nerd on.
Later, nerds.